If you need certainty before you trust God, what you're really trusting is certainty. That's uncomfortable because most of us have been taught to associate strong faith with strong confidence. We admire people who sound sure, who speak decisively, who don't hesitate. Something in us tells us that doubt feels weak, ambiguity feels dangerous, and so we chase clarity, and we call it faith. But the writer of Hebrews tells us a different story. Abraham is called to leave everything familiar and go to a place that God doesn't even bother to describe. There's no map, there's no timeline, no guarantees, just a direction and a promise. And Abraham goes, not because he understands where he's headed, but because he trusts the one who called him. That distinction matters. Abraham's faith wasn't built on information, it was built on relationship. Somewhere along the way, we have reversed that. We tell ourselves we'll obey once things make sense. We'll trust once the outcome feels predictable. We'll move once we're confident that we won't regret it. Certainty becomes the condition for obedience, and it feels wise, even responsible or faithful. But certainty doesn't require trust. It replaces it. When everything is explained, faith becomes unnecessary. When the path is clear, risk disappears. And when risk disappears, trust quietly steps aside. What we call faith is often just comfort with what we already know. A living God does not always offer clarity. Not because he's withholding, but because trust is formed in movement, not an explanation. Hebrews never tells us Abraham felt confident. It just tells us he went. Faith in Scripture is less about how sure you feel and more about whether you're willing to step forward without guarantees. Here's the harder truth. Waiting for certainty can be a way of staying in control and not surrendering. As long as you don't move, you don't have to risk being wrong. You don't have to depend. You don't have to trust anyone but yourself. But faith that never risks never really trusts. So ask yourself this today. Where are you delaying obedience because you want assurance first? Where have you labeled hesitation as wisdom? Where are you saying, I just need more clarity, when what you really mean is, I just don't want to let go yet? Certainty feels safe, and trust rarely does, but only one of them will actually change you. Thanks for spending a few minutes before the noise with me today, and don't forget, God is not asking you to be certain. He's asking you to trust him. He loves you more deeply than you could ever imagine. I'll see you next week.